My name is Thomas Earl Wasdin. I'm 79 years old. I was born in Waldo, Florida, a little town just northeast of Gainesville. And now I live in Cocoa Village in Brevard County, Florida. Well, when I was born, it was during the Depression, and my mother died when I was 3 months old. And so I was raised by my father's sister and her husband. And so Waldo in those days, a small town, about 800 people, and I lived out on the farm outside of Waldo. Waldo was a little country town, but I was outside of town. In fact, the townies called me country. And we had no electricity, no running water. And I studied by a kerosene lamp in high school. We were poor, we didn't know it. In my little small town, our social life was built around the high school and the Baptist church. And we had plenty of food, living on a farm, a chicken farm and a vegetable farm, and we had nice clean clothes. But we were poor, as I said earlier, we didn't know it. But one thing we had a lot of love in our family. And that's probably, I think, the most important thing you can have in a family is love. You learn to do more with less. I learned to live my life without spending a lot of money. And I learned always to plan for hard times. And you always need a little nest egg set aside in case you run into some difficulties. And so it taught me a lot about saving money and planning for the future and setting goals and working hard to achieve them. Well, Waldo High School was a small school. We had 8 in our graduating class. And so we did not have a great high school education. However, we did take some algebra and physics and stuff like that. But actually they were trying to educate us to be farmers. And so I worked very hard on the farm. And during my senior year, we got a television. And I saw a lot about things in the world I never knew anything about. And so I always thought there must be a better life than living on the farm. So my goal was never a certain achievement. It was, I want to do something to get off the farm. I want to work hard, find something else to do. My parents, wonderful parents, worked hard on the farm. They had a good life, but it was a very difficult, hard life. You get up early in the morning, go to bed late, 6 days a week. Sunday was built around the Baptist church. And after I graduated from high school, my dad picked me up one day and said, "Son, I want you to come join me on the farm." That's my real dad. And he said, "If you'll stay here and work with me on the farm, see that north 40 acres over there? Under that big oak tree, we'll build you a nice home and you'll get you a good woman. And there'll be enough here for all of us. I want you to help me and be my partner on the farm." I said, "Well, Dad, thanks for that. I appreciate it. But I want to go to college." He says, "Well, son, good luck." And so he gave me good luck to go to college, but that's the only way he helped me go to school. Well, the first chapter of my book starts out me on the way to see my Methodist minister to see what the Bible says about suicide. And I'm a planner, and I knew if I couldn't do something to stop this pain, the medication was getting less effective, that I couldn't live with it. So I'm a planner, so I wanted to know what was going to happen when I get to the point where I could not live with this pain. So I went and saw my Methodist minister, and we talked about it, what the Bible said about it. I'm a religious guy, and I grew up in a very religious Baptist home, and my relationship with God is very important. And I wanted to know what the Bible said about suicide. I never thought I would shoot myself in the head or something, but I always heard about assisted suicide. And so I was interested to find out more about it, and if ever the time came that might be an option. A lot of doctors will tell you that's a better option than living with the pain. So that's how I started off. And then I've had this trigeminal neuralgia since 1975. I was diagnosed for 5 years, was 1975 and 1980. It was diagnosed to have trigeminal neuralgia. I went through a lot of different things with dentists and surgery, brain surgery, not brain surgery, but gum surgery and root canals and stuff, thinking that was the problem. But finally it was diagnosed by Dr. Albert Roden at the University of Florida. My dentist gave me an article on trigeminal neuralgia, and I read it. He says, you ought to call this Dr. Roden. I called him, and he says, I'll send you a medication, a prescription, and you take that and call me in a couple of days. I took it, and 2 days later I had no pain. So I called him, and he said, well, you need to come see me. I think you have trigeminal neuralgia. So I went up there and saw him, and I was diagnosed to have that. He put me on medication for a while, but then that didn't work very much longer. Then I had some procedures to try to cure it. And none of them worked very long, for short periods of time. And then I finally had a procedure called a balloon compression procedure with Dr. Jeffrey Brown in Long Island, New York, on my left side. And then I developed the same problem on my right side, so I'm bilateral. Had the same procedure done there. I have no pain, no medication for over 5 years. So I'm very fortunate. It really affects your quality of life. And my quality of life now is wonderful. I have a little numbness I have to live with, but beating the pain, I'd take it 100 to 1. It's like electric shock. It kind of like, you know how a little tinkling of electricity, you see lightning. It's a lightning shock, and it's called the most severe pain known to man by some doctors. And so you never know when it comes. It fires off and then goes away, and it keeps coming back. And it's a progressive disease. It gets worse and worse, and the medication gets less and less effective. So you take the medication, and it controls it. You keep upping the dose. Pretty soon you're bonkers. You can hardly live. You have no quality of life. Then it gets to the point you have no quality of life, and you still have some of the pain. And that was the position I was in. When I got it, I was in my early 40s, and I didn't think I had it because I was too young. But it usually happens in the 60s and older. And it is mostly older people, and women have it more than men. And most people have it only on one side. A few people have bilateral. And so I'm one of the unfortunate that had it on both sides, but I'm one of the fortunate, completely cured right now. The problem with it is you never know when it's going to come back. It's always right on your shoulder back. You're thinking one of these days it's going to tap you on the shoulder and you're going to have the pain again. But thankfully, it's been over 5 years on both sides with no pain, so I consider myself blessed. Well, just 2 days ago, we ran into a friend of ours at Osorio's, and he says, I want to tell you how much I appreciate what you did for my friend. And he told me that he had his friend call us, and we helped him find a surgery to get rid of the pain. He's pain-free now for 3 years, so he came up and thanked us how much we appreciate what we did for his friend. I have numerous stories like that, people I've helped. And one was an assistant basketball coach that lost his job, and I got him hooked up with my neurosurgeon in Long Island. Now he's got his job back, he's pain-free, he's very happy. He wrote me a nice letter saying I saved his life by helping him find a cure. And those are rewards that you get for what you do. And so we're now trying to help find a cure. We raised some money and gave some money to try to prime the pump for research. And thankfully that's happened, and research is going at a great pace right now. And hopefully in my lifetime we'll have a cure. People ask me, how did I get from Waldo to here? I don't know how I did it. You know, it certainly wasn't a game plan that I had. What I did, every job I had, I wanted to do the best I could. And one of the things in my life, I want to be as good as I can be in whatever I'm doing. And the only job I ever interviewed for was the job when I became a teacher in elementary school in Jacksonville. From then on, I wanted to be the best elementary school teacher I could get. And I tried real hard. I got hired. And I wanted to be the best coach I could be. And I kept getting jobs and moving up the ladder. And so that's the story of my life, I guess. I try to be as good as I can be. I try to do something every day to improve me and my knowledge, my ability, and my quality of life. And I try to enjoy each day, but don't do anything today that would keep me from being happy tomorrow. I think the real key to financial success is spend less than you make. And you need to have goals, and you need to write them down, and you need to strive for them. And one thing that I've learned in my life, that I'm the person that's responsible for my happiness, nobody else. If I'm not happy, it's my responsibility to change it. If I don't like my job, I need to change my life. If I don't like a relationship, it's my responsibility to change it. And so you have to learn that people disagree with you, and you have to know they have that right to disagree. You have to learn to disagree without being disagreeable. And the more expectations you put on people, the more disappointed you are. And only you're responsible for your life and your happiness. And I try to tell other people that they need to take stock of their life. It's their responsibility. People can help you, can hurt you, but really the responsibility goes back to you, and only you're responsible. If you don't respect yourself, nobody will respect you. If you're not proud of what you do, nobody will be proud of what you do. If you don't like yourself, nobody will like you. And so that's a goal, things I try to tell people, my family and other people. Happiness is a goal for all of us. And you need to make steps towards your happiness. And you do that every day, you'll be surprised how much easier it is to be happy. One thing I've always done in my life, I've looked at life as a stool with 4 legs. And each stool means something to me. One is your health. One is your financing. One is your spiritual life. And you also need to have your family. So that's 4 stools. Now you can get by with 3 stools or 2, but when you get 1 stool, you're headed for disaster. And every year I'd sit down with those goals in mind. I'd set goals in each category. Like health. I want to jog, work out. I want to have a tonsillectomy. I want to have this or that. And same thing in financing. I want to be able to save so much money, get out of debt. And so you have those goals. And I'm a firm believer, if you don't have come to an understanding of your spiritual life, you can't be happy. You need to know where you stand with God, whether you believe or don't believe in God, and what your relationship is.